The heat is back, and we're back. Welcome back to Blue Collar Creatures. I'm Nick. Today we're going to be continuing the brake master cylinder assembly bracket that's going to sit on the side of our 27T frame. And in order to mount that, I got to go ahead and make some bracket pieces, if you will, that are going to attach to our other bracket to connect to the frame. And so we're just going to use our template paper, and we'll trace around this edge, and that will kind of give us the shape we need to lock onto it. And then we'll kind of leave some extra pieces of the strap so that way when we measure we know exactly where to cut so this can sit properly in our bottom of our floor. So part 2 of this whole adventure. Enjoy. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna go ahead and walk you through our next step. We've traced the shape of the bracket for the brake master cylinder. And what I'd like to be able to do is at least where this plating's gonna run, and let's just pretend that our frame will be right here. I'd like to give myself 3/4 to an inch for support. That might be overkill, that might be underkill, but that's where we're at. So the next step, and we'll walk you over here, is I need to figure out, need to measure this side of the frame, and then we're gonna have to figure out later on when we cut those bracket pieces how much space to give us. So that's the next step, and that's the next trick. Okay, so on our frame, we know that this is a 2x3, so we've got 3 inches going down that way. When I cut the brackets, it's gonna have to sit up here, so I need to make sure that I'm giving myself enough space from the frame to the bracket, so when I cut the pieces it should fit pretty snug where it needs to. And yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll mark that on the template right after I make some measurements. All right, so this is pretty cool. Here's 3 inches from the 2x3 of the frame. And it looks like we've got more than ample enough to do an inch or 3/4 of an inch. I think we're gonna go ahead and go with 3/4 of an inch just to bring it in tighter. And I think that'll look pretty classy. All right, this side will mount to the frame, and we're still within measurements for the 2x3. Over here, we decided to cut this off, and that way we've just got kind of a nice little perch, and that'll make it easy for when we need to cut out. All right, here we go. Alrighty guys, here's our template. And see how that's just gonna kind of sit right up under there? It's pretty snug looking. So yeah, that's the next step. Let's go ahead and trace this to metal, and we'll cut it out. All right, let's trace this out. Get it all nice and squared up as best you can. And we're gonna make 2 of these. All right, got it traced out, and we'll use the grinder, and we'll just kind of slice here, and we'll cut the rest. All right, so here's one bracket. We're gonna go ahead and I like the way that's fitting. A little bit more on the excess, you can see that gap, so keep whittling away at it. Okay, we'll come back to this on another day, but we've got these pieces cut out, and they're ready to go on the frame. So I'm sure there'll be a little more tweaking to do as that goes on, but that's our progress for today, folks. Okay, so just to give you an idea of how this is going to sit on the side of the frame. Yeah, look at that. And yeah, frame will sit right here. This will probably get brought in closer, but for right now, all intents and purposes, this is pretty cool. And man, I'm getting excited. This is getting closer and closer to getting mounted. Ready. Welcome back to Blue Collar Creatures. Today we're working on the brake master cylinder, hopefully get it mounted to the frame. So Nick made these brackets here out of some, I think, 3/8 inch plating. It's gonna fit up on the master cylinder mount like that. Now we gotta figure out how long it needs to be, cut it down, we'll weld it to the frame, brace it up, then our brakes will be mounted. We'll just need to make a new pedal, go from there. So this is gonna go up here onto the subfloor. So now we just need to measure the distance from here to the frame, and then we'll trim it down. So now we're mounting our brake master cylinder. We're checking for brake pedal height and where we want it, be comfortable driving. This is kind of where we're gonna be in the car. So we have this old pedal, we'll probably end up modifying it to fit, to build comfortably, but we're gonna bring it up a little further, and we're gonna move the rod in a little more so that way it's not right by the A-pillar. But once it's compressed, you know, it'll be going through the toe board and stop the car. All right, so as Blake just described, we have to modify our brake pedal. So what we've done when we compressed it, I think he was talking about it earlier, we had marked where this is, when this is fully compressed inside the master cylinder, this is where the end of that rubber boot that kind of protects it from dirt and grime inside of that cylinder, marked it right there. So we know don't go any lower than that if we want to be able to fully compress our pedal. So we'll go ahead, we'll take this apart, we'll kind of cut this down. We'll leave a little bit of thread just because we want to be able to still use this part of the joint. And then we move on to the fun part, which is modifying the angle of this so that way it does what we need it to under the floorboard. So here we go. All right, so I marked the thread where I'm gonna cut, and then we'll be able to put that joint on this push rod. All right guys, so as you can see, I cut the push rod. So we're gonna go ahead and see how well my cut was. All right, look at that. What's going on? That's pretty cool. All right, so we'll spin that as low as we can go. If it needs to go any lower, which we don't have much wiggle room anymore. So right about there, it's bottoming out. So if we need to go any lower, we can, but always leave extra. At least that's what my experience has told me. And yeah, Blake is over here prepping. All right, so Blake had to modify the template to mount the bracket. And so we've gone ahead and traced it out. Next step to do is to cut it, and we'll show you all how it fits on the side of the frame. Okay guys, so currently we're working on the tab number 2 for the bracket. And so Blake has gone ahead and figured out exactly how it needs to sit, including the spot for like the strap on the side of the frame. And then I think he's about to modify this part and cut it off. And then hopefully we'll get it tacked and mounted. Not bad fitment. Nice job, Blake. Alright, here's the second piece cut out and let that cool. Let's see what Blake did over here. Ooh, mama. Damn, show him your piece, man. Look at that. Like that. Alright, so we got our bracket welded on here.
We're gonna weld it onto the frame up top, tack weld it. We're trying to get the piece exactly level with the degree finder. And then we'll get it tack welded in.
First bracket in, checking everything. It's getting exciting. The BrakeMaster cylinder bracket assembly is mostly in there. Up next, we gotta mess with this pedal to get all the dimensions right and whatnot.
Now, to end off the episode, we got our brake pedal all mocked up. All we did was a little pie cut back here, took a little angle out, and then did another one on the back side of the thread to bring the pedal angle parallel. That way, when we're driving, pushing it, nice and comfortable, nice comfortable foot position for road trips, and plenty of legroom. So, I think that's a wrap for the brake assembly.